Hey guys, last week we had a really interesting show, and if you missed it, I'd suggest you go back and watch it.
Yep.
I'll admit it was a little longer than normal, but it did have an interesting perspective and some very challenging thoughts. So we wanted to come back this week with a shorter show that supported a few of the things we talked about last week.
Yep, and since last week, I've seen the Dow increase 7 straight days, gold prices fall, and interest rates spike. Now, these all could be indicators that the recession is finally over. Great. These are great things, if they can continue.
Yeah, that's a big if.
It is a big if. The thing that gets me going is all the stories that I read on how the bottom of the housing market is here and the worst is behind us. Now, don't get me wrong, this doesn't change my approach at business. I mean, I come to work every day to kick you-know-what and take names, but it still does get my goat because I know people read this stuff and then they get their hopes up.
That's for sure.
It is for sure.
So we wanted to come back, take a quick few minutes, and show you a few things that support what we talked about last week. First, though, let's take a look at what the professionals are saying.
Well, in response to the rumors of the recovery in the housing market, Case-Shiller's own David Blitzer, not to be confused with Walt Blitzer, says, if anything, it looks like we may have re-entered a period of decline as we begin 2012. Blitzer's referring to this graph that again supports what we've been saying all along. Take a look.
We have now had 8 consecutive months of home price declines, and that's even with mortgage rates persistently at record lows.
Is the rate of declining home prices slowing? Yes, but they're still falling. That's like saying, hey, I jumped out of an airplane and I was going 200 miles an hour, but then I put my arms out and I slowed down to 100 miles an hour. Everything's okay, right? No, homie, you're still falling. Prices continue to fall. Last 19 months, 18 of them have fallen.
Blitzer goes on to tell it like it is and says, in terms of prices, the housing market ended 2011 on a very disappointing note.
Now remember, this is the chairman of the index committee for the S&P, not just the resource guys.
He continues saying, with this month's report, we saw all 3 composites hit new record lows. While we thought we saw some signs of stabilization in the middle of 2011, it appears that neither the economy nor the consumer confidence was strong enough to move the market in a positive direction at the year end.
Now I'm going to continue with his statements because, well, they're very telling. He goes on to say, after the prior 3 years of accelerated decline, the past 2 years has been a story of a housing market that is bottoming out, but has yet to stabilize. Up until today's report, we have believed that the lows of the composites were behind us, with the 10-city composite originally hitting a low in April 2009, and the 20-city composite hitting a low in March of 2011. Now, it looks like neither was the case, as both hit new record lows in December of 2011. Gulp.
Okay. All right, his final statement supports what the resource has been saying, and it's this. The pickup in the economy has simply not, and I repeat, not been strong enough to keep home prices stabilized. If anything, it looks like we might have re-entered a period of decline as we move into 2012.
So, we got that going for us. Yeah. Well, some viewers that don't agree may say, well, that's just housing. What about this government bubble you guys are talking about? After all, nobody in the media is talking about a government bubble. Why is the resource talking about it? It can't be true. Au contraire, mon frere, take a look at this graph. It's sobering and it may have you just saying, what?
At first glance, it doesn't look like much, until you realize that this represents the U.S. government's either surplus or deficit. And we all know the government doesn't have a surplus, but rather a very large deficit.
And it's pretty bad. This graph goes back to 1895, and you can see that we stayed relatively flat until about the 1980s, and then the wheels started coming off. And then the 2007 recession hit, and we took the proverbial flying leap into debt hell.
I mean, look at the drop-off. Are you kidding me?
I know.
How can anyone argue with what we've been saying? I mean, really, at some point, don't you have to stop fighting the inevitable and realize that this is a pretty serious situation?
Anyways, we said we're going to keep the show short, so there you go. That's it for today. Hey, I got an idea. Go educate your friends on Facebook, because I'm sure they would like to know what we're facing as well. So, press this little button below and share it, or you can make a comment down below, and it'll magically share it right to your Facebook. So, there you go.
Dude, did you say homie earlier?
Yes, I did.
You are such a nerd.
What? You're a nerd.
Sorry for party rocking.